The new year is just around the corner, and many times fitness or physical health is at the top of everyone's list. But what about a mental health resolution? Things you can do for your mental health this year. Lorri Perez from Family and Children's Services is joining me now to talk about some mental health goals we can all incorporate. Thank you for being here, Lorri.
Thank you for having me.
We talked to you on Zoom last year. You're here in person. We're so glad to have you. So tell us, first of all, some things that people need to know about mental health and just checking on each other. I just love that concept.
So it's really important to check on other people. If you notice something is different about your coworker, your family member, a friend, it's really important to just check in on them and say, hey, I noticed you seem to be having a hard time. That can be a text, that can be anything, to just encourage someone to really talk to you and just admit, hey, I am having a hard time. Can we go just meet really quick or talk on the phone really quick?
And it's interesting, as we were talking in the commercial break, about when someone checks on you, it's easy to kind of defer, deflect, put your guard up, but it's important to be honest with that person who really cares about you.
Exactly, and then whenever we're honest about how we feel, then that encourages other people to be honest whenever we check on them. And with recent events of where Twitch died of suicide, it's really important to remember that we can all decrease that mental health stigma by talking to each other, connecting with each other, and admitting whenever we're having a hard time. Right,
because in that story that we were talking about, the just terrible circumstance, this famous dancer named Twitch Boss, who a lot of people knew, took his own life, and everybody on Instagram would have seen, oh, well, he seemed fine. A family, you just never know. And that whole thing of well, this person seemed fine. Just talk about that, about how it's just a natural thing for people to think, well, what was wrong?
Right, and we can't always know, but it's just important to notice things in other people and notice signs in ourselves too, and just think, well, I'm feeling kind of stressed right now too, and I know I'm in a similar situation as someone else, so maybe I'm gonna check on them, like a coworker. And sometimes just saying to someone, hey, what's going on, just makes them feel, that makes a big difference to someone.
Let's talk about therapy and seeking the help of a therapist. How would you suggest people get started in starting with therapy?
Okay, so it can seem pretty intimidating to start therapy, but what's important is that first, if you're employed somewhere, you can go talk to your HR and ask about an employee assistance program. A lot of companies have 6 free sessions available.
Because financial barriers can be a stopping point.
It's a huge deal, and if you don't have insurance, there are places like Family and Children's Services that do provide therapy. And whenever you first go into therapy, don't think that that first session is going to be what all the sessions are like, because often that's gathering information about what's currently going on with you and maybe some past stuff too, so that your therapist can get a good gauge of what's going on.
So what are some of the common feedback that you get after the first session? Where is it just folks are maybe frustrated, oh, it's just so many questions, or things that may say, well, I don't need to do this anymore because I don't know what this is.
Right, so yes, people will say, that's a lot of questions. Why are you asking me about things that happened in my past? And it's like, well, we have to ask certain questions to build this, okay, is this depression? Is this anxiety? Or is this maybe something more? And even ask physical health questions, because maybe you have something going on physically that you need to go checked out at the doctor that's causing you some issues with your mental health.
So maybe just give it more than that one, give it that one session.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, but provide your therapist with feedback. We're trained to get feedback. If you don't like something, if you want them to do more of something that they did, then ask them, because that's what we're trained for. We should be able to answer questions, and we should be able to tell you about the process.
We do want to leave our viewers with a positive note here as well. And a lot of this has been positive, but just an additional positive note, folks struggling out there, what are some words of encouragement that you would leave with us today of folks that may just be feeling like they're just teetering on the edge?
And so reach out to someone. We also have crisis lines and emotional support lines here in Tulsa that are wonderful, that are manned by therapists and mental health professionals that can help. But reach out to people, because we do care, and Tulsa has a great mental health support here, and it's so important to remember to just just reach out. We can all help each other.
Yeah, and there are a lot of resources. We tell you about this on the news sometime. Of course, there's the National Suicide Hotline, 988. We've really been trying to hit that hard this year about letting people know. Family and Children Services, 918-744-4800, Parkside. So a lot of resources here on the screen for you. Lorri, Perez, thank you so much for being here and these just wise words, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you, too.
9:19 now. There's a lot to clean up after the holidays. What should not go in the recycling bin as you're still sorting through everything. And an Oklahoma family finds a cat that's been missing for a half a year. I think this is a pretty amazing story. How many thousands of miles they'll now need to go back to get to her family.